already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, you know, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from.
The highly anticipated clash between Canelo Álvarez and Terence Crawford is being hailed as the biggest fight of the year, and legendary trainer TeddyAtlas has shared his candid take. Atlas believes Crawford has the tools to win, regardless of the weight class, citing his exceptional skill, discipline, and adaptability. In contrast, he questions whether Canelo is still the same fighter he once was, suggesting the Mexican star has lost the hunger and fire that once defined his greatness. According to Atlas, Canelo's recent performances reflect a noticeable decline, even going so far as to call him overrated when compared to Crawford. In his view, Crawford's sharpness and relentless drive make him the clear favorite.
That the urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that it just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you know, you could make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. You know, he didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you could make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument it was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine, a former opponent of Terence Crawford, firmly believes that size won't be the deciding factor in Crawford's showdown with Canelo Álvarez. He argues that Crawford's superior skill set and high ring IQ make him too smart for Canelo, regardless of any size disadvantage. In Mean Machine's view, the difference in weight and natural size pales in comparison to Crawford's edge in adaptability, timing, and in-fight adjustments. He describes Crawford as one of the most calculated fighters of his generation, able to break down opponents mid-fight and nullify any physical advantages they might have. Crawford's control of pace, distance, and rhythm, according to Mean Machine, are far more important than brute strength. For him, this fight will be decided by precision and intelligence, and in those departments, Terence Crawford stands clearly ahead.
No, it's not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way when you say oh, he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size of that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters. And Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be even faster, and his head was good in the ring. He's boxing IQ just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not I'm just giving an example. Size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say Canelo is big and he's fighting 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and that the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just that I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not like, and lots of people gain weight like that sloppy weight, like I would say like fat, but he gained, like, he looked like strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? Like, how is his strength? Because yeah, a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford.
Um, Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is the what makes difference.
Mean Machine offers an insightful comparison between the upcoming Terence Crawford versus Canelo Álvarez clash and Canelo's 2013 fight against Floyd Mayweather. Back then, Canelo was younger and less experienced, and Mayweather dominated him with superior speed, defense, and ring IQ. According to Mean Machine, Crawford has the tools to replicate that kind of performance, using slick movement, pinpoint accuracy, and smart counterpunching to frustrate Canelo and neutralize his most dangerous weapons. However, Mean Machine also points out a key difference. Canelo today is not the same fighter he was in 2013. He now carries years of experience, having faced and beaten elite competition. Over time, he's grown more patient, more adaptable, and far more seasoned in the ring, qualities that could make this matchup much more competitive.
Hard, but they just throw, and he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like, yeah, we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo, and Canelo, yeah, Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah, we will see.
From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly. They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And like they're like that's why like they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first.
Regis Prodrice offers a contrasting perspective on the highly anticipated Crawford versus Canelo matchup. The former world champion dismisses the idea that Crawford's punches will have any real effect on a naturally bigger, granite-chinned fighter like Canelo Álvarez. Prodrice points out that Canelo has taken shots from some of boxing's hardest hitters, fighters significantly larger than Crawford, without ever appearing seriously hurt. However, Prodrice doesn't entirely count Crawford out. While he doubts the impact of Crawford's power, he still respects the Nebraska native's chances of winning through sheer skill, strategy, and determination. In his view, Crawford's technique is world-class, and his ability to switch stances and execute precise game plans makes him a serious threat, even to someone as seasoned and powerful as Canelo.
At first, I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You got to look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, DeLaura, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was a 54. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about great. This might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but not really. But this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has shared the ring with Terence Crawford in sparring, echoes Regis Prograis' skepticism about Crawford's power. Having felt Crawford's punches firsthand, Vargas says he doesn't believe Crawford can hurt Canelo Álvarez. While he acknowledges Crawford's sharpness and precision, he questions whether the Nebraska star possesses the kind of punching power needed to trouble a fighter as big and durable as Canelo. Vargas highlights that Canelo has stood toe-to-toe with naturally larger opponents and absorbed their hardest shots, which casts doubt on Crawford's ability to pose the same level of threat. Still, Vargas doesn't write Crawford off completely. He's quick to note that power isn't everything. Timing, accuracy, and consistency can break down even the toughest opponents over time. However, in Vargas's assessment, Crawford's punches may not carry enough weight to stop Canelo from applying relentless forward pressure, a factor that could shape the outcome of the fight.
Going to be done in camp.
All we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68. Big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So he's a veteran, and he's doing veteran tactics in there where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like